And as we've just been hearing, reform is not just a Scotland-England issue. Nationalists and unionists in other devolved nations are keeping a beady eye on the constitutional debate here in Scotland. Hayley Jarvis reports.
The referendum is big news in Scotland, but it's also hitting the headlines in Wales.
Okay. So what does it mean for us in Wales?
Well, it is a big debate.
The National Assembly's First Minister, Labour's Carwyn Jones, says he would regret seeing Scotland leave the Union. He's worried that Wales would be dominated by English MPs at Westminster. Meanwhile, the nationalists Plaid Cymru say they could have their own referendum if they win the next two elections. That might be some way off, though. A recent poll puts support for independence in Wales at just 7%. The Prime Minister was urged by Northern Ireland's DUP to do all he can to preserve the Union.
It is now up to him and this House to unite in a campaign to maintain, sustain and support the Union and keep McNeill and Wishart with us forever.
I hope the politicians of all parties will agree to share platforms together. I've always wanted to share a platform with Ian Paisley. Maybe I'll get my chance.
While Sinn Féin and Stormont, who share power with the DUP, appear to be staying out of the debate at the moment. In the Republic of Ireland, Gerry Adams wants a date set for a border poll on Irish unity, saying the Scottish referendum puts the whole structure of the UK up for debate.
Well, in our Belfast studio, we can speak now to the MP Ian Paisley Jr., who represents North Antrim for the Democratic Unionist Party, and in our Aberystwyth studio is the Plaid Cymru AM, Simon Thomas, whose constituency is in Mid and West Wales. Thank you both very much indeed for joining us. Simon, first of all, is it now a given that the status quo for Wales is no longer an option?
Oh, absolutely, and that's been the case for 10 years now. We've had increasing support for further powers to the Welsh Assembly, and indeed last year, of course, won a referendum hands down on further powers, and we see now with the Scottish independence referendum that the days of the current UK government set up after events in Ireland 90 years ago are at an end, and we have to reconfigure the relationship between the constituent parts of the UK. And
Simon, there's actually a convention being proposed in Wales to look at further tax-raising powers and issues like that.
Indeed, and the things that you were talking about with Ming Pangle are already being addressed in Wales through the Silk Commission, which is looking at significant devolution of tax raising powers in Wales and devolution of further legislative powers to Wales. And we look forward to that debate. We're having a debate here that's taking Wales forward. It's at a different pace to that debate in Scotland, but it's the same kind of debate.
Yeah, let me ask you about some of the practical repercussions of all of this for Northern Ireland. We know in Stormont there's agreement that you want corporation tax devolved to Stormont. Do you think there's any risk at all that Westminster will be reluctant to, the Treasury particularly, be reluctant to give you that in case it sets a precedent for Scotland?
Well, good afternoon, Isabel. I think the most important thing about this whole debate about the future of the United Kingdom, and I take this view, is that the United Kingdom is only as strong as each component part. So if there's unique things that need to be done for Wales because the Welsh people want that, or for Scotland because the Scottish people want it, or indeed for Northern Ireland because we share a land border with another country that has the lowest tax regime in the whole of Europe, then I think we have to recognise that those peculiarities have to be adapted. And of course, if each region is strong, then the kingdom together is strong. Because I don't want to be part of a wee Northern Ireland, as I'm sure many Scots don't want to be part of just a wee Scotland, and I hope the Welsh don't want to be part of a wee Wales. We want to be part of a family of nations that makes the United Kingdom what it is. A family. Yes, we have divisions. Yes, there's things we have to do differently in each area to make the family work. But a nation, nonetheless, of peoples that make us strong and make us diverse.
But just to get back to the question, do you think potentially there's a problem for you here in arguing your case at the moment?
No, absolutely not. I'll tell you why. I mean, we get a £12 billion subvention each year to help run Northern Ireland. We're talking about, because of the legacy of 40 years of terrorist violence, which no other part of the United Kingdom has, because of that, to introduce corporation tax would cost us probably less than £500 million per annum. To do the similar deal in Scotland would cost them, under the Azores ruling, multiples of billions of pounds, because their economy is so much more stronger than ours, so it wouldn't actually be worth their while. And as well as that, Scotland, I understand, want to see corporation tax reduced to be in the teens. We want to compete with a country which has the same land border, which has corporation tax 12%.
Okay.
The ideal thing is to reduce corporation tax for the whole of the United Kingdom, so as we can all compete on a much more stronger foot across the whole of Europe and indeed across the whole of the world.
Simon, let me ask you where Wales has got to with the Trident issue, because Carwyn Jones had gone out on a limb, it would seem, at one point to say if Scotland doesn't want Trident, certainly Wales will have Trident and the associated jobs. And then some of his own party members said absolutely not. What's going on with that now in Wales?
Well, I stood with Labour Party members outside our Parliament last week to address a crowd protesting against Trident. The mood in Wales is very much against renewing nuclear weapons. Plaid Cymru is committed to a non-nuclear future, but more importantly, I think, people are asking why we're spending billions on new nuclear weapons at a time of austerity cuts, taking away welfare support and support for the poorest and most vulnerable in our community. So we stand shoulder to shoulder with people in Scotland who want to see the end of nuclear weapons in the United Kingdom, and I think the debate on Scottish independence will help focus on some of these issues, which are really about what the role of the constituent parts of the UK should be now in Europe, in a Western European type of defence capability, and also within NATO. But it's clear that the people in Wales and the people in my constituency, which is Pembrokeshire, which is one of the areas that has been mentioned as a possible home for Trident, very much against it, as it is, in fact, the main UK source of import of our gas and oil. And I don't think nuclear weapons and gas and oil really mix.
Ian, just before we leave this, will the DUP be considering, I know you have considered in the past coming into Scotland for the referendum campaign, for the Better Together campaign group. Where have you got to on that now?
Well, can I say this? I don't want to be part of a country when one part of it, you know, there is, in the current kingdom, one part of it we become foreigners, or indeed my Scottish kith and kin become foreigners to me. I mean, my grandmother was from Scotland. Many of my brother-in-laws from Scotland. We have huge, significant family ties from Northern Ireland to Scotland. And one of the sad things, which I reflect yesterday, one of the most capable politicians on these islands is Alex Salmond. And yet he chose yesterday to make the debate a pejorative debate about being against Lord Snooty.
Right. So will the DUP be coming into campaign?
Yes, well, I'm answering that. I'm as much against the Lord Snooty being over all of us. But what we have to do is have a debate that is framed in a way that is respectful and, more importantly, actually addresses the issues instead of just being pejorative about people who we don't actually like. And I think that, you know, this debate will affect my future. It will affect all our futures in all of the United Kingdom. I think we've all got a right to have a voice and a say on it, and how that shapes up. I'm looking forward to it, because Scottish nationalists have invited me to come and speak on this issue with them. So I don't see why they would be resistant to having that debate from people who are part and parcel of the United Kingdom at present.
So you're saying the DUP could actually campaign for Better Together on some sort of systematic basis?
Well, look, what I am interested in doing is, as a unionist, maintaining and strengthening the union and putting forward that argument. I can do it without being part of a platform, and I can do it as being just a member of this kingdom and making that argument. And I hope that we don't need to have labels to actually do that.
Thank you both very much indeed for that. Thank you. We're out of time. Thanks.